Mercury, about 3.8 billion years ago. A huge asteroid is about to collide with the planet. Boom! Fragments are flying in different directions, along with the blast wave. When the dust settles, we see a crater almost the size of Lake Ontario. The most interesting thing here is the shape of the crater. It looks like a spider. A round body in the center, and a bunch of legs that spread out from the crater in different directions. But the strangest thing is that the spider's legs don't quite line up with the center. Scientists can only guess how such a landscape was formed. Some think that the picture of the spider appeared there much earlier, and the meteorite falling almost into its center was just a coincidence. But we still don't have a clear explanation of how such scars could have appeared on the surface of Mercury. Another mystery about Mercury is how it was born. One theory claims that the planet used to be Venus's moon, but over time, it succumbed to the sun's gravity. The star literally ripped Mercury away, and the little planet began orbiting it. What might prove this theory is the rotation periods of Mercury and Venus. Mercury is gradually losing its rotational speed. One day on this planet now equals 58 Earth days and continues to increase. At the same time, after losing its heavy load, Venus has started rotating a little faster. Another theory says that Mercury collided with Venus shortly after the appearance of the solar system. At that time, Proto-Mercury was slightly larger than the planet we're familiar with these days. But then, Mercury lost part of its crust after colliding with Venus. And a little later, Venus collected this debris. But scientists still can't come up with a definitive answer as to how Mercury was formed. Uranus, a gas giant, 18 Earth-Sun distances from our home. This planet seems calm compared to other giants, like Jupiter with its Earth-sized storms. And still, Uranus has something unusual to boast about. This dark spot, for example, was detected by the Hubble telescope in 2006. At that time, it was almost twice the size of Alaska. A few years later, bright spots appeared there. It turned out that they were methane clouds that moved across the surface of the planet at a speed of 300 miles per hour. But we don't know what exactly causes such storms on Uranus. Maybe we can solve this secret by looking at another mystery of Uranus. This planet rotates while lying on its side. If you look at the axis of our planet, you'll see that it's vertical and only slightly tilted. It's the same for most of the planets in our solar system. But not Uranus. Its axis is almost horizontal and pointed toward the sun. One of the poles of Uranus is fully illuminated at almost all times. The polar day on the planet lasts for 42 Earth years. When the tilt of Uranus's axis changes, the polar day starts on the other side of the planet. The other pole plunges into darkness for 42 years. This change of seasons can cause severe storms on the planet's surface. But why exactly Uranus lies on its side is unknown. Perhaps billions of years ago, the gas giant collided with several asteroids that were about to become a young planet. Such a protoplanet, similar in size and weight to Earth, could have tilted Uranus after crashing into it. But it's still just a hypothesis. Now let's go to Jupiter's moon, Europa. The big mystery here is whether there is life on this moon. Scientists don't deny such a possibility. All you see on the moon's surface is ice. The stripes you may spot are actually long, wide cracks. For a long time, scientists thought this moon was nothing more than a block of ice. But now, they think there might be liquid water inside. The core of Europa is heated by the tidal forces of Jupiter. This warm core melts the ice around it, so there really could be a huge ocean under the ice crust. Since water is the basis of life, different microorganisms could exist there. But we would only find out if we sent a probe there. We would have to drill through 24 miles of solid ice and start searching in an ocean twice the size of all water reservoirs on Earth. Look at Saturn's moon, Titan. It's the second largest moon in the solar system. It's 50% bigger than Earth's natural satellite. It's the only place in our solar system, other than Earth, where liquid water has been proven to exist. But the most interesting thing about Titan is its atmosphere. It's 250 miles thick. This distance is almost 40 times greater than the average cruising altitude of commercial planes on Earth. And it's 95% nitrogen. For comparison, Earth's atmosphere is 79% nitrogen, which means they're quite similar. The mystery is that no one knows how this atmosphere appeared there. One theory suggests that many years ago, meteorites hit Titan's surface almost non-stop. Massive rocks collided with the crust, raising the pressure and temperatures on the moon. Under such conditions, the ammonia in the air decomposed into nitrogen and hydrogen. The heavy nitrogen fell on Titan's surface, while the light hydrogen rose and flowed out into space. But some scientists dispute this theory. Another mystery of the solar system is the hypothetical star Nemesis, and whether it really exists. If you look at all the stars of our galaxy, most of them are paired, which means that two stars orbit around each other. Statistically, the Sun must also have a companion. So, some scientists have made an assumption that the largest mass extinctions on Earth were related to some mysterious object in space. They hypothesized that there was a red dwarf somewhere within 1.5 light-years away from the center of the solar system, and every approach of this dwarf star to the asteroid cloud disturbed these space travelers. Every time it happened, several asteroids began their journey toward Earth and caused a mass extinction. But this star hasn't yet been discovered, and many scientists question this hypothesis. Now let's look at the very edge of the solar system. A photon of light has to travel 1 year to get here. Scientists believe the Oort cloud exists in that area. It's a hypothetical region where tons of asteroids and blocks of ice gather into clouds. It's the furthest place where the sun's gravity still works. Presumably, this spherical cloud wraps around the solar system. This is the region where long-period comets are thought to originate. They fly all the way through the solar system and then return to the Oort cloud. This journey can take thousands of years. Even more exciting, there could be a gas giant called Tyche in that region. Some scientists say it might be 4 times the size of Jupiter. So far, no research has confirmed its existence. Although the Oort cloud is still considered hypothetical, some scientists believe that comets from that area are responsible for the major mass extinctions on Earth. Now let's go beyond the borders of the solar system. There, 1,500 light-years away from Earth, there's the closest to our home planet black hole. Black holes are the most mysterious objects in the universe. They're so heavy that they attract not only matter, but also light. Even more, they slow down time. Once something gets trapped in a black hole's gravity, it never escapes. Light and matter gradually settle near the event horizon and soon disappear into infinite darkness. Time flows differently here. 1 minute near a black hole can be equal to weeks on Earth. The biggest mystery is what exactly is inside a black hole. Some speculate that there's nothing but crushing pressure that destroys anything that gets there. Others say it might be a portal to another dimension or a wormhole to another place in the universe. If it was true, white holes would exist as well, as exits from black hole portals and wormholes. But no white hole has been found so far. Now, how about going to the hypothetical border of the entire universe? It's called the Eridanus supervoid. If you look at the map of the universe, you'll see an empty cold spot about 1 billion light-years wide. The entire Milky Way galaxy is only 100,000 light-years across. The main mystery is how the spot appeared. One theory says this void is the scar left by the collision of 2 parallel universes. Imagine that universes are giant bubbles, and one day, 2 of these bubbles collided. That's when the parallel universe ripped several galaxies out of our bubble. So far, this is the only explanation for how such a huge cold void could appear in our universe.
Okay, here you are in the middle of the ocean. It's endless, but you can't see it because there's a thick fog all around you. Dense clouds hide the huge but dim sun. Is it day or night? You don't know. There's only a gray haze around you. You're alone. Even if you try to swim down, after several hours, you still won't be able to see the bottom of the ocean. And that's a typical water planet for you. I know, sounded kind of dark, but it's not that bad. These water worlds are more interesting than they may seem, so let's take a look at them. The ocean planet is a planet that consists, as you might have guessed, mainly of water, ice, and maybe some rocks. Think of the Earth's oceans. Its horrifying depths, the Mariana Trench, and all that. And now, can you guess how much space all the water on Earth takes up? 0.025%, exactly. Now, just try to imagine a world of 40 to 60% water. If you dive in there, the depth can exceed 60 miles. Compared to that, the 6-mile depth of our Mariana Trench sounds like nothing. And yeah, the pressure there will be enormous. It can reach up to 20,000 Earth atmospheres. Very crushing. Now, it may sound scary, but it still would be great to find out more about these planets. Fortunately, according to scientists' calculations, there may be a lot of such planets in our galaxy alone. Well, you don't have to go far. You can find these water guys even in our solar system. Not planets, of course, but moons. Jupiter has Ganymede and Callisto, and Saturn has Titan and Enceladus. The ocean can reach up to 30% of the mass of these moons, although it isn't clear whether these oceans are covered with a thick crust of ice. But we've discovered quite a few full-fledged ocean planets. This is because the conditions in which these planets may exist are very specific. For example, this planet should be somewhere 6 to 8 times larger than the Earth. If it's smaller, it'll have a rocky surface, but if it's bigger, it'll turn into a gas giant. At the same time, it must be in the habitable zone of its star. A little further, and the planet immediately turns into an icy giant or a cold super-Earth. So yeah, these guys are very picky. We first started exploring these planets back in the 1970s. However, since then, we've found only a couple of them, but they're still very interesting. The first planet is Gliese 1214b. It was the very first ocean planet that we discovered. Initially, the scientists noticed only a small dim dot. This dot turned out to be the red dwarf star Gliese 1214. An unremarkable, completely ordinary star that's 5 times smaller than our Sun and 300 times dimmer. Scientists wouldn't worry about it at all, but back in 2009, they noticed that this star had one single planet, and this planet turned out to be quite strange. This super-Earth was 2.5 times bigger than our Earth and 6.5 times heavier, but at the same time, it had a very, very small density and about the same gravity as our planet. In other words, there were almost no rocks and metals on it. But it wasn't a gas giant either. So there was only one option left. It was covered in water and ice. And that's how we discovered the first ocean planet. Well, actually, we can only assume that it consists of water. That's what the mathematical calculations say. In reality, this planet is quite confusing. It's difficult to explore, and so far, scientists haven't been able to find anything there. No hydrogen, no helium, no water, nada. That's because the outer layer of the atmosphere of this planet is very dense, and it perfectly hides its composition. But even so, it's probably a water world. Gliese 1214b is very close to its star. It's only 0.014 astronomical units away, which is less than the distance between the Moon and us. The year there lasts about 36 hours, and the temperatures, to put it mildly, are just wild. Scientists suggest that the average temperature there can reach 250 to 535 degrees Fahrenheit. Woo, that's hot. Remember the creepy description from the beginning? Well, actually, spending time on Gliese 1214b would be a little different, more like swimming in a steam boiler. Because of such gigantic temperatures, the ocean on the surface will be constantly in a state close to boiling without actually reaching it. So, imagine that you're descending to the surface of this planet, flying through clouds of steam, and then you suddenly find yourself in the water. What? But when did it happen? Well, that's because the boundary between steam and water on Gliese 1214b will be very blurred. Of course, you won't be able to swim to the bottom of this ocean, but most likely, this bottom is covered with a very thick layer of so-called hot ice. It's like regular ice, but it doesn't really care about the laws of physics, so it just doesn't melt even at gigantic temperatures. And the thickness of this ice can reach as much as 3,000 miles. So that's it for the creepy Gliese 1214b, and not an Airbnb in sight. Now, although we can't 100% guarantee that it's a water world, we still have another candidate for this position. A newly discovered planet called TOI 1452b. This planet, located in the Dragon constellation, is almost 100 light-years away from us. It was discovered using the TESS telescope by a group of researchers from the University of Montreal. This planet also belongs to the class of super-Earths. It's 7 times larger than our planet, but 48 times heavier. Again, all this is at a very low density. Because of this, scientists have suggested that almost the entire planet consists of a giant ocean. Here, we were a little luckier. This world won't be just a giant puddle and some thick ice. On this planet, there's probably a rocky surface deep under the water, just like in a typical ocean. Don't get too excited though, this ocean will certainly be very different from what we're used to. TOI 1452b also orbits a small red dwarf, and not even one, but 2 at once. At the same time, if the previous planet was close to its sun, then this one, on the contrary, is very, very far away. It's 2.5 times farther from its stars than Pluto is from the sun, and it moves at great speed. A year there lasts only 11 days. But we still don't know many things about this planet. We'll probably get some new information when scientists observe it from the James Webb Telescope. Well, that's it. Wait, did you expect something else? All right, I know the question that bothers you the most. Can there be life? Well, this is a difficult question. We all know that water means life, and besides, these planets are in the habitable zones of their stars. So, potentially, yes, there might be life. Not some full-fledged civilizations, of course, but bacteria, fish, and some creepy giant monsters. I mean, why not? However, this is very unlikely. Water alone isn't enough to create life, even though it's very important. There should also be some microelements and some minerals. And unfortunately, for most water planets, the composition will only consist of water and very thick ice. There won't be any minerals there. But don't give up. There's still some probability. First of all, there are meteorites and comets. They can bring the necessary minerals to the planet. The more often they crash into it, the higher the probability that they'll bring something like this into the ocean and thus create life. Secondly, TOI 1452b actually has these minerals. Yes, we don't know how deep the rocky bottom is located there. But if it exists, then surely something could have originated there. Let's hope that new research with powerful telescopes will allow us to find out the truth. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll be able to visit such a planet ourselves. The only life that we are certain about so far in the entire universe is on planet Earth. Whether that life is intelligent is, let's say, arguable. But anyway, it's not surprising that we're tirelessly searching for life on other planets. So far, they've discovered more than 4,000 of them. But what's even cooler, NASA has compiled a new list of 24 planets that aren't just Earth-like, they're better. The conditions on them are so good that they're more comfortable than on our planet. So let's examine some of them. KOI 5715.01. Let's be coy, shall we? This wonderful planet is in the constellation Cygnus. And why is it so wonderful? Well, our sun is a yellow dwarf. And sorry, son, even though you're not bad at supporting life, there are some stars that can do it better. Nothing personal. The planet KOI 5715.01 orbits near an orange dwarf. Orange dwarfs are stars slightly smaller than our sun and have a little lower luminosity. Did you like the alliteration there? Anyway, don't worry, it doesn't mean we're going to live in complete darkness. In fact, if the planet is found closer to the sun and it has a thicker atmosphere, it may even be lighter and more colorful than on Earth. Now, our sun has a very short lifespan. Right now, it has 7 to 8 billion years left to live, a little longer than Earth's age. But orange dwarfs can live from 45 to 70 billion years. This is great not only because we'll be able to hang out on this planet longer, but also because the planets around these stars have more time to form life. Now, ideally, we would need to find a planet next to an orange dwarf that is about 7 billion years old. It's very likely there will be at least some organisms there. KOI 5715.01 is about 5.5 billion years old. Yeah, it may not seem mature enough, but that's okay, neither do I. Our Earth is a billion years younger, and that didn't stop us. The planet is quite close to its star and is in a habitable zone. 1 year there lasts 190 days. Imagine going to elementary school and already getting a driver's license. It's almost 2 times larger than the Earth. The average temperature there is 52 degrees Fahrenheit, which is slightly less than ours, 57. But it mostly feels warmer there because strong gravity helps it hold on to heat in the atmosphere longer. It's a little too far away though, like 3,000 light-years from Earth, which is about 18 quadrillion miles. Yep, better bring a really big lunch with you. KOI 3010.01. This planet is found next to the star KOI 2010. This planet sounds like a very pleasant world. The average temperature on this planet is 67 degrees, so a little warmer than ours. But that's a good thing. Scientists believe that on a perfect planet, the temperature should be just about 10 degrees hotter than on Earth. The more heat there is on the planet, the more comfortable it is to live there. Also, the higher chances of developing life. The radius of this planet is nearly 1.5 times larger than Earth. There's some atmosphere, although we're not yet sure about its composition, but it's probably like the Earth's. Scientists think that we'll find an ocean there, and it can cover up to 60% of the surface, which is also cool. In a perfect world, water and land should be distributed more evenly than on our planet. A little more land means a little more territory and resources, right? But listen, this planet is actually very similar to the Earth. The semblance is so striking that scientists believe we have an 84% chance to find life there. Of course, not necessarily an intelligent life, but at least some animals. Wouldn't that be cool? Now, what do you think they could look like? Very Earth-like planet, but with stronger gravity. Well, if someone lives there, they're probably big but have a small height and strong little legs. Sounds adorable and scary. But we won't be able to find out the truth anytime soon. So far, for us, these planets are microscopic dots in space. We only have some dry, boring data about them and don't even know what they look like. We'll have to wait until we can find a way to get closer to these planets. Kepler 186f. This is also one of the best candidates for having life. This rather cute planet was nicknamed the Earth's cousin because it does have a strong resemblance. Anyway, these two planets are like sisters, not twins. Kepler 186f rotates near a red dwarf. Red dwarfs are stars even dimmer and smaller than orange dwarfs. Yeah, they'll also live for a very, very long time, but their luminosity is also quite low. However, Kepler 186f is closer to its star than we're to our Sun, so it shouldn't be too dark there. Well, at least not night-like dark. The sky on this planet is sure to be an unusual shade of red, like sunsets on Earth. What do you think? Would you like to live on a planet with an eternal sunset? The size of this planet is about the same as Earth. Not bad, not perfect. Why so? Because the coolest planets are those that are bigger than Earth and have stronger gravity. Now you'll probably say, but wouldn't it be harder to walk there and even harder to get out of bed on Monday? Of course. But on the other hand, this planet will pull the atmosphere better. The atmosphere will be thicker and denser. This means more protection from the scary space stuff, more oxygen, and more heat. Not to mention the fact that the bigger planets have more space to settle. Awesome, right? But of course, the Earth's size is also an excellent choice. Another cool fact is that the tilt of Kepler 186f is about the same as ours. It means that there should be stable seasons and a normal day-night cycle. Do you know how important the tilt of the planet is? Let's look at Mars. Mars is also, in fact, found in the habitable zone of our Sun. But its tilt is very unstable, and as a result, the entire ocean that could have been on it once now completely dried up. Today, it's just a red desert, and there's no life there. At least not as far as we know, but you see how important these tiny details are? This planet is also quite far away from us, 490 light-years. That's about 3 quadrillion miles. So yeah, we're just going to keep waiting for intergalactic travel. Kepler 62e and 62f. These planets were called the most Earth-like before we discovered Kepler 186f. They're very comparable to our home. Kepler 62e is about 1.5 times larger than Earth, and Kepler 62f is just slightly smaller than that. They're located in the constellation Lyra, which is about 1,200 light-years away from us. They both also orbit a red dwarf. 1 year on Kepler 62e lasts about 122 days, even less than on that first planet we talked about. Scientists believe that both 62e and 62f are sort of water worlds, warm places mostly, or even completely covered with water. If there is land there, it's probably just some islands. A world consisting entirely of islands. A fantasy dream for some, think Hawaii, and a nightmare for others, think Megalodon. But if you're a fan of ancient marine animals, just imagine how gigantic they could be there. Still, there are many things we don't know about this planet. Does it have a surface? What about its composition, density? One day, maybe we'll be able to answer these questions. And so, that's it for the super-Earths. Of course, the original list is much longer, and you can go check it out on the internet. Now, the best thing about all this is that these are planets that are better than the Earth. But we also know thousands of other exoplanets that are just close enough to ours. And the odds are, a few of them have at least some form of life. But they're very, very far away, so we have no way to check it out right now. Perhaps, down the road, we'll find some cool creatures on many of them. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.